Alright, today's video is going to be about the Chicago Cubs. Maybe titled something like the most directionless team in baseball, because that's kind of what they are. So yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. But before I get into this video, 75% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So get your life together. Hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like on this video. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like, and let's go ahead and get into this video talking about the Chicago Cubs. Now, this team has been really bad so far to start the season. They currently are 6-9 at the time of filming this video. Yeah, in fifth place. Yeah, that's behind the Pirates. Yikes. This Cubs team has no direction at all. Jed Hoyer was their new president or GM or something like that this offseason. And he made a questionable move, trading Hugh Darvish to the San Diego Padres for a couple prospects. None of those, those are some good prospects, but they're not even close to fitting the timeline of this team. The timeline of this team is pretty much right now, if we're being honest. Their pitching sucks so far this year. It's bad. Their hitting is equally bad. And this team just needs to find a direction because, I've said multiple times they need to trade Chris Bryant. They need to trade Chris Bryant. That's the same with all their stars on this team. They need to trade them because this team has no direction and it should be rebuilding. It should. I don't say go in full rebuild mode a lot. I usually say, trade for some players, try to make it better. But this has got to be a rebuild. There are certain teams that I just think should go into a rebuild, and the Chicago Cubs team has to be one of them. They've got Miguel Amaya at the catcher position. That's their future catcher. Yes, you've got Wilson Contreras, who is a great catcher. Do not get me wrong. I really like Wilson Contreras, but he needs to be traded. Miguel Amaya is coming up. Wilson Contreras needs to be traded, and you're going to get some good players back for Wilson Contreras. Nobody's going to give up their whole farm system for Wilson Contreras. Even though he is a very good catcher, they're not going to give up their whole farm system for Wilson Contreras. No. But what they will give up some of their farm system for is definitely Chris Bryant. Now, Chris Bryant didn't have a great spring training, didn't have a good 2020. As we all know, 265 batting average, 5 home runs, and 10 RBIs to start the season. Very good start. Wilson Contreras, 273 batting average, 5 home runs, and 8 RBIs to start this season. Javier Baez, low average again, 214 batting average, but 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. He struck out a ton with 27 strikeouts. He's got more strikeouts than hits this year. Anthony Rizzo, 250 batting average, 3 home runs, 4 RBIs, and 9 strikeouts this year, and 13 hits. But Ian Happ's been useless this year, 1 home run, 1 RBI, and a 167 batting average. Jason Hayward's been useless, which he's been useless for the last 3 years. Jack Peterson, 149 batting average, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. Everyone was thinking he was going to be the next Babe Ruth after spring training, and simply that's not true. He's been terrible, been bad, very bad. Moving on to the pitching side of things. Once again, it is nothing to get excited about. When your best pitcher, Kyle Hendricks, has almost a 7 ERA, you know you're in trouble. You definitely know you're in trouble. Now, Jake Arrieta has been pretty solid, 2-1 with a 3.18 ERA. One huge surprise for this team, a huge good surprise, has been Craig Kimbrell. 0 ERA in 6 games so far this season. Like I said, Kyle Hendricks has an almost 7 ERA. You've got Jake Arrieta being their best pitcher right now with 3.18 ERA. Also, your biggest your biggest guy that you got back for you, Darvish, right now has a 10 ERA. Zach Davies. Yeah. No. That's just not going to work if the Cubs want to compete. So the Cubs, I think, definitely need to go in a full rebuild at the trade deadline. As far as their batting goes right now, they're in 30th with a 192 batting average, 22 home runs, and 50 RBIs as a total combined team. As far as their pitching goes, yeah, it's not good at all. They are 28th with a 4.98 ERA, 6 wins against 9 losses. And as far as their fielding goes as a team, you would expect it to be pretty good. They're 4th right now in all of baseball. But the Cubs have got to find some direction with this team. They play the Mets. I expect them to probably lose the series. Brewers, Cubs, probably same thing. Cubs, Braves, probably same thing. They don't have a very easy schedule coming up at all. And at the trade deadline, I think they need to move some of these players. Now, Kyle Hendricks, he keeps on playing like this. He's not a valuable asset to any team in Major League Baseball right now. Wilson Contreras, definitely pretty valuable. As far as their farm system, it's not particularly ranked very good as far as in the MLB farm systems. I think it's ranked like towards the bottom. But you still have Braylon Marquez, Brendan Davis, Miguel Amaya in that farm system, all players that can be pretty good. But simply, if you rebuild, you're obviously not going to be as good. But they gave Javier Baez an offer before the 2020 season. It was a 9-year, $180 million deal, which clearly means that they're trying to get these players back. But the realistic thing is they're not getting all three of these players back. You've got to decide between one of these players. And I think if they are deciding between one of these players and who's most likely to resign, Chris Bryant's definitely not likely to resign, in my opinion. It's between Javier Baez or Anthony Rizzo. Javier Baez, no, I don't really think so either. I think it's going to be Anthony Rizzo, if I'm being honest. I think Anthony Rizzo is probably the one that they're going to get, which once again does not really fit the timeline of this team at all if you're rebuilding. But Wilson Contreras, a player that you could get some valuable players back for, along with Chris Bryant. Yes, his trade value down a little bit from 2020, but he's had a great start to 2021. And you could expect to get some pretty good players back. Yes, you're pretty much, if you trade him at the deadline, the team getting him will only get like half a year of him if they're not going to be able to re-sign him. So the idea would probably be that they do have confidence in re-signing Chris Bryant. Javier Baez, unless you definitely know he's not coming back, then I would trade him. But I don't think that they're really realistically going to move Javier Baez or Anthony Rizzo this offseason. Now, if you're on the other side and you're still trying to win, which is dumb, then you're probably trying to get some starting pitching at the deadline. You probably need some relief pitching as well. German Marquez from the Rockies would be an interesting option. Max Scherzer, I don't know. I don't think that the Cubs should do that, just considering he will be a half a year rental, and that's just not a very good place. Steven Strasburg, if he's available, no, because he's just too injury prone. And I think German Marquez is the best option. Now you're going to have to give up some good players for German Marquez. The Rockies aren't just going to sell him for nothing. But I mean, you've got Nico Horner coming up too, who's supposed to be one of those really good players. But Jack Peterson's been terrible. Kyle Schwarber probably, honestly, they would probably rather have him right now. And as far as Jason Hayward, he's been bad as well. Like the whole team besides Contreras, Baez, Rizzo. Baez particularly hasn't been great. But I mean, Bryant, Rizzo, Contreras, that's kind of been the only bright spots, and Craig Kimbrell. Craig Kimbrell definitely can get you something at the deadline. I don't know exactly what that something would be, just because teams do not want to give up a ton for a relief pitcher, but they could still definitely get something good back. So this team needs to do something. They've got to do something. But also, when I think you, like I've said, rebuild. But I think when you do that rebuild, you've got to do it right, and that means you've got to get the right prospects back in return if you're trading these players. I understand that as well, but you've got to get the right players back, or you will be in one of the worst futures in Major League Baseball. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications, because, like I said, 75% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So get your life together. Hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, leave a like. Thank you for watching, and peace.